Welcome to Bible at the Bay. Here we are in Honesdale, Pennsylvania with our special guest, Rabbi Dr. Jeffrey Coburn, head of school at North Shore Hebrew Academy in Great Neck, New York.
Very glad to be here.
Great to have you.
Thank you.
We're in chapter 22 in the book of Kings 1, closing out this portion of the book. And we have Israel and Judah fighting against a foreign enemy, the Aramean king. And, there's an interesting, battle that happens in this chapter, but we have a case here at the end of the narrative where we're told a story where essentially God puts into the mouths of prophets a false prophecy, right? They want to know if they're going to win, if they're going to be successful. And so there's this ensuing story about the Spirit of God kind of, animating prophets. And I think this chapter raises all kinds of very troubling theological questions about prophecy, about reliance on prophecy, about the ability, how can we ever kill a false prophet? Maybe that prophet's not actually false. That prophet is a true prophet, just getting a false prophecy from God. And it just raises kinds of just theologically troubling questions about the nature of the, God and truth and prophecy overall.
There's an ongoing tension leadership-wise, I think, from the story of Samuel himself, way back in his book, as to who should be the leader of the Jewish people. Should it be the prophet, who has the direct line, well, hopefully not a false prophet, but he has the direct line from God, or the king, who has to rely on the prophet and who is the leader of the people? And my teacher, Menachem Liebtag, in Israel, his model was that the king should point the people towards God, and when he stops doing that, that's when he gets removed. So you see that tension played out here to the point where the prophets are afraid to tell the king the actual message of God because they know that he doesn't want to hear it, the king, and there's two kings in this story. So it's very complicated. I don't have a clear pathway through this one.
It raises all the those questions because we like to think of things as very neat categories. There's true prophets, and there is the Nevi'ei Sheker, the false prophets, and so you fall into one category, and suddenly it becomes everything's rattled because you can't actually, know if somebody's animated with a false spirit. And I think the extensions are not just about prophecy. I think we have lots of ramifications that could come from this narrative about a truthful person being animated with a spirit that's a false spirit.
It's even more complicated here because there's a story where all of a sudden in God's court, and God says, how am I going to do this? And a false spirit appears before God and says, well, I'll take care of this, which we've never seen before in the Book of Kings, where all of a sudden our players are God talking to his servants, which is very jarring. And like you said, it complicates things even more. Yeah,
so everything's kind of all mixed up. We've had a lot of that throughout this book, and the narratives, the fairy tale-like aspects, the interesting, quirky revelation stories, miraculous stories. And here we have almost just a conglomerate of all of it in the heavenly court and how it plays out on earth. Is an interesting way to sort of end Kings 1, which is an artificial end, but looking forward to exploring Kings 2.
It'll be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.